لك الحمد كما ينبغي وجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وإمام المرسلين برحمة اللهم فصل وسلم وبارك على هذا النبي الكريم سيد سند العظيم ذو القلب الرحيم سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين.
Amen. Shukran, Imam Diallo. Bishop, if you can offer some prayers, you have the floor, please, as well.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God Almighty, whose mercies are beyond human comprehension, we continue to knock at your throne of grace, your heart of love and compassion on all humankind throughout the whole face of the globe. We pray that you will grant all of us the humility to be humble, to be merciful, to be compassionate, to be loving and caring for one another. We pray that you will remove greed and avarice from our hearts. Grant us to know that this world is not the end of everything else, but the time will come when each and every one of us will have to stand before you to give an account of our daily lives. So help us to live our lives in modesty and try to regulate our relationship with one another. We commit the witness that will be before the TRRC this day. Grant him the boldness to come here and speak the truth. And also grant the commission the discerning spirit to discern between truth and falsehood. Grant the population, the people of this nation, the Gambia, and those of the diaspora, also the patience, to allow the due process to take its proper course. And we know at the end of it all, you will grant this nation peace, stability. In Jesus' name we pray, present thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much indeed, Bishop. Council, if we are ready with this morning's witness, please proceed to get him in.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, commissioners and members of the audience. May I ask that the witness be brought in, please?
Thank you.
I, Demba Sowe.
I, Demba Sowe.
Do swear that.
Do swear that.
I'll speak the truth.
I'll speak the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Good morning, Mr. Sowe. Welcome to the TRRC.
Good morning, Sacred Council.
Mr. Sowe, as a matter of practice before this commission, we do allow for interpretation in the local languages, even though the witness may be speaking in English. That is done so that those listening at home may be able to follow the proceedings. In which local language would you wish that the proceedings be interpreted into?
Well, in full.
Thank you very much. We would make arrangements, Mr. Chair. Kindly allow for a few minutes so that arrangements will be made for translation, interpretation rather, into the fuller language. Well, Mr. Witness, I would encourage you to pay attention to the interpretation. In the event that there are mistakes in the interpretation, you may help correct them. I wish my fuller was good enough. Unfortunately, it's not. Mr. Witness, you've just taken an oath to speak the truth. You know the drill. It's a criminal offense. It's an offense to lie on the oath. It's also an offense to provide false information to the TRRC. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Council Obi Joni Wairi Arido Hande pour CDA Mangal. Lumdei ko yakugol loi sa arido ender o leydi a haali a huɗi algurana a haali ko wona gonga ɗum ko yakugol loi.
Could you answer now? You should
Yes,
answer.
yes, I know your council.
Council Midandi.
Yes, so always answer after the interpretation.
Noted, thank you.
And allow for at least a brief 3 seconds between your speech and that of the interpreter so that there won't be any overlap. What are your full names?
My name is Demba Sowe.
Demba Sowe.
What's your date and place of birth?
6 June 67 in Kampasa village.
June 1967, Sara Wetende, Kampasa.
Where is Kampasa?
Kampasa ko hoto woni?
And Fonyi Jarong, West Coast region.
Fonyi Jarol, Tundu West Coast region.
Where did you go to school?
Hoto yada pour jangde made école hombo yada.
St. John Pasco School called in Sintet.
Pasco School, Sara Wetende Sintet.
And thereafter?
Gila iwla don hoto jada.
Brikama Secondary School for 1 year, then St. Peter's Technical High School.
Mie Brigama Secondary School, Hitande Water, Mie St. Peter's.
You have pursued other academic courses.
Waɗino jangde goɗɗe ɗen manduɗa nandani e ɗin ɗon.
So could you tell us about them?
Joni haalan men ɗin ɗon kala no wayi hoto yaaɗa ko hoɗum sifa gandal janguɗa ɗon.
Diploma in Management Studies at the MDI.
Maybe diploma, ɗum woni no toppitoto ligge no yarata, ɗum woni jande wiyetende Management Development Institute MDI.
In 2008.
Jande wiyetende 2008.
2013 to 2017, I did my LLB and BL respectively.
2013 to 2017, maybe BA.
BL. LLB and BL.
LLB, can you make BL?
Are you called to the bar?
Yes, I'm called to the bar.
Yeah, you know, Damaka, Darnde, Nyawore.
You are a lawyer.
No, I'm a lawyer.
Yes, lead counsel.
Counsel, come lawyer.
You entered the police force, Gambia Police Force, in which year?
Yande istande hombo fududa pour wonde police.
September 1985.
September 1985.
That would be 36 years ago, isn't it?
Wona dubi chapantati jego bao.
Yes, lead counsel.
Counsel.
You would admit that that is a very, very long time.
Ajabade don boyi hande joni.
Yes, lead counsel.
Boyi kai.
And that gives you extensive experience in policing.
No wayno dal dum okkima gandal mo anduda no yaaji no mawji no mawni kala e sengo ligge police.
Yes, lead counsel.
Counsel.
Where have you worked as a police officer? Give us just a brief rundown of the places you have worked as a police officer and the positions.
Joni halan men dulaji manduda ko don ligguda e ligge police.
After passing out in 86, I was at the Banjul station as a general duty officer.
Irami gayni jangugol angole golle police in 1986 ko Banjul mi wonno gollude the general duties ko dum
The same year in 86, I was moved to Denton Bridge as a traffic officer.
Dan hitande wotere ndem mi 1986 be nabilan traffic office ligge traffic ka Denton Bridge.
And in 1992,
hitande 1992
I was moved to the police headquarters
be nabilan galle njane police abbe
to form part of a newly created unit called the Complaints and Discipline Unit.
pour mi tawe golle darnade kesse wiete Complaint and Discipline Unit.
And after the coup in 1994,
ila coup d'etat on wadi hitande 1994
we continued in that same unit.
men continue golle amen den e den ligge gota den.
And in 1995,
hitande 1995
I moved to the CID, serious crime.
mi naba sengo CID, serious crime.
1996,
hitande 1996
I was redeployed to the fraud squad.
be nabilan fraud squad be andana ko ben topitoto afel tapela ya gangal.
And I was at the fraud squad until
office
1999.
Hitande 1999
when a new unit was also formed at the police headquarters called the Incident Planning Unit.
gilanno be darni tom pala ligge office keso kadi wiete do Incident Plan Unit.
I was moved there to head that unit barely for 1 year.
be nabilan tom mi wona yeso jon ton mi hebi don hitande.
And in 2000 I was again moved to the fraud squad.
hitande 2000 be nabirlang be routine lam fraud squad kadi.
And in 2007 I was promoted to an assistant superintendent of police.
2007 be bedi makama ngom woni assistant superintendent police
and posted to LRR as the officer commanding.
be nabilang tundu LRR tundu mansa kongo to be woni officer commanding manan ko min jop police abe wonbe ton ben ko mi woni yeso be mabbe.
And in 2003 I was transferred back to head the mobile traffic unit at Kanifing.
2003 be adilang mobile traffic pour mona yeso jo traffic on ton.
And later to Banjul traffic.
Yeso seda be nabilang Banjul traffic.
And in 2004 May
2004 hitande 2004 lewru May
15th
sappo e joyi mayru
I was deployed to Sierra Leone under the UNAMSIL peacekeeping.
be nabilang lady Sierra Leone woni dan tabindingol ton jam.
I was there till February 2006 when I returned.
Miɗo ton ha lewru February 2006 mi ardi.
And in February I was redeployed back to fraud squad as the officer commanding.
February kadi be nabirlam fraud squad pour mona ton yesojo on.
And in July of 2006,
lewru July 2006
I was promoted to a superintendent of police.
Be bedi makama ngom be wadilam superintendent police
and appointed as the head of the crime called the crime management coordinator.
Subilam be wadlan yesojo toppitorodo du woni bade bonde wadode den.
And in 2006 December
joni hitande 2006 lewru December
I had a 1 week termination of service.
be taji golle an den goyata yontere.
That was on the 7th of December. I was given a letter of termination of service.
No hebi lewru December balde mun jeedidi be jonilan letter wondema be taji golle an den.
Though I didn't know what the reasons were.
Gonga mi andano ko hondum sababi ko hondum mi wadi.
1 week later on the 14th
lewru yontere wotere nde yontere ko be taji golle an den nde yontere hikkinde mun den.
I was reinstated. And redeployed to the NIA.
NIA.
And at the NIA too, I was part of the investigation team. And in January, I think January 22nd,
seki lewru January noga e didi mayru
I was promoted to a director
be beedi makama ngon be wadilan director
and appointed as the director of internal security.
be subilan be wadilan director mo andanda wonna ko kanko toppitoto e gardugal ko wonta kon kander ton tigi woni internal security.
In 2008 July,
lewru 2008 lewru July
I was suspended from the NIA for a certain allegation that was a subject of investigation.
be hadilang yahugol NIA te ko sababi dum ko don no hare ko wodi ko be wonno lijjindinde fi an be taji be hadila yahugol ton taw.
Subsequently, on the 19th of September 2008,
o gila du yawti lewru December 19 sapo e jeenay may
September 19th.
September sapo e jeenay may 2008
I was charged to court and dismissed on the 22nd of September.
e 2 milan be nabilan court be rudilang September.
So from September to May 2010,
bilandama lewru September ha lewru May 2010
I was out of the system.
mi yalti e golle den.
Of course, from 19th of September to May 10th, 2010,
lewru May sapo e jeenaru mayru kanuma e 2010
I was at the Mile 2 prisons.
do kaso mawdo.
And in April 24th,
lewru April noga e nay mayru
2013,
2013 hitande den
I was reinstated
be rutini lang e golle den
to the NIA.
du woni NIA.
And of course, the reinstatement states I should go back to where I was in 2018.
kaydi ndin ko holliri don kon be rutini lang golle kono mi ruttoto kam mi wonno ton.
But that was not the case. I was posted at a certain unit called the analysis as director.
kono wona non kam wonno ton wona to mi rutti ko sengo go kadi mi ruttiti ka wete analyse ko andan be andana wanda ko kambe sedeta ko kala ko wandana hino jibondi don ko kambe sedeta dum ha lawa.
And in that same year, around September, I was
den hitara wotere den kadi
transferred to head the external security wing as director.
natilam woni sengo jogi fedde joginge ngam be andana ko kambe jogi gardu ndun ka yaasi on.
And
wona yesojo on ton kadi
September 2014,
lewru September 2014 kadi
I was deployed back to the police where I came from.
natilang sengo police ngon kam iwroni iwri ton.
And I was posted at the policy and planning unit of the Gambia Police Force as a commissioner.
Benabilang ka sengo yana ka police and planning unit mi wana yesojo on ton.
And in 2015,
2015
I was posted as the Commissioner of Administration at the police headquarters.
Benabilang police headquarters mi wana yesojo manda da wana kanku chopito to golle den no yarata non administration.
April 2016, I was moved again
lewru March 2015 be itilankadi
as Commissioner of the Interpol and the Criminal Intelligence.
Benabilang wona yesojo du woni Commissioner Interpol ko anda wona police be anda aduna fo police kafumo be hawti on wona yesojo on ton.
March of 2017,
lewru March 2017 March or wala May.
July, yes. I was again posted to be the crime management coordinator as commissioner.
Pour mi wona commissioner du woni wadube bade bonde den do de topitorte.
And in 2018
hitande 2018
around July, I was again moved to the admin as the commissioner of admin.
Joni kadi mi rutina admin du woni police sengo police topito do ligge den fo no yarata non.
And in 2019,
hitande 2019
after my elevation to an assistant inspector general of police,
ilabe beedi makam angon pour mi wona assistant inspector general of police,
there was an internal restructuring.
te tu woni der police to ngombe wodi be sansuno hen gede palasuji dududi.
And I was moved to as the AIG crime the CMC.
Benabilam one IIG, we do one CMC Crime Management Coordinator.
And that's where I am as we speak.
Nini ka wondo ko tomi woni.
In a sense, you have worked in most of the relevant offices at the Gambia Police Force.
No, I know that a ligi officer killed the one that benin tawa lay police Gambia do.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
You have also worked at the NIA.
A ligi no kala do NIA.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
Do you recall in 2006?
Me anda sa siftonat hitande 2006. March 2006.
When you were appointed to work in one of the panels investigating the alleged Trrc coup d'etat?
Untuma non be subino be natinima e nder kafu mo anduda ko dum yete panel pour on dartina coup d'etat yakkunodo mo anduda Trrc heduno on coup d'etat.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
Can you tell us how the panel was formed? As far as you know?
An andirda dum wawa men halande panel on yimbe wombe nder panel on hono be subira.
Council, on this fateful day, this was 3 weeks after my resumption of duties at the police headquarters. I was at home around 8 p.m. Somebody called me. If I can remember, I think it was Boto Keta. These were officers who were part of the major crime.
Major crime.
Inform me, just to inform me, kind of, that whether I was aware of any attempted coup. And I said no. And he informed me that yes, there was an attempted coup and it has been foiled. And that police officers were converged at the PIU headquarters at Kanifing, including the IGP. That was just for my information. Well, whilst at home, I felt, I also need to be part of the team at the PIU.
At this stage, what was your rank?
Assistant Superintendent of Police.
Assistant Superintendent of Police.
Would you consider that to have been a senior rank at the time?
Non awawa wiide ko palace manduɗa ko palace mawɓe e nder police.
It forms part of the cadre of the senior ranks, yes.
Proceed, please.
Oh, Johnny, continue. I drove to the PIU headquarters. And I found IGP and some other senior officers with personnel of the major crime unit.
Who was the IGP at the time?
IGP.
Usman Sonko.
Usman Sonko won no IGP on when yesojo police on jamanu.
Then he told me that so.
We don't want them so.
Oh, you are here. He said yes.
Oh, he do.
I said yes.
Okay.
And he told me, well, there is an attempted coup. And the soldiers are going around to effect arrest. So I will want you to lead the team to the NIA to form part of a panel of investigation. I had no option but to accept it. So I mobilized these officers of the major crime and we all drove to the NIA headquarters.
Non min kadi mi mottindiri be yimbe anda wonda ma hebe liggo be sengo police wiete major crime me yehi ka NIA.
And we joined the panel.
Yehi men bokki be o panel foto be liggintinde affaire be yimbe men anda wanda be falano hippade lamu ngu.
Which comprises of the police.
No tawa ben police abe no mabbe.
The NIA
ben no mabbe.
And the military.
Kanyum may mini soldaru ben.
Kindly name them. Could you kindly name the members of the panel?
Awa men halande inde yimbe mo anduda kambe wonno e der panel o.
From the police side is me, Demba Sowe.
Sengo police ben no tawa e mum min Demba Sowe.
Inspector Lamin Cisse.
Inspector Lamin Cisse.
Sergeant Sedindur.
Sergeant Sedindur.
I think Boto Keta then was a corporal, Corporal Boto Keta.
Siki on jamanu Boto Keta ko corporal wonno makam makon Corporal Boto Keta.
Lamin Cham.
Lamin Cham.
And Abdullah Sowe.
Kanyum may Abdullah Sowe.
From the NIA, I know Hydra was there.
Sengo NIA bem mi de fami wonda ma Hydra no don. Abdullah Hydra. Modu Hydra.
There was Yusuf Afai.
Kanyum may wiete do Yusuf Afai.
Usman Bojang.
Usman Bojang.
And others, I cannot remember their names.
Kanyum may obego be anda ma wonda mi wawa ta manitare inde mabbe.
Yes, that was a Bajinka.
Hey, Bajinka Jonathan.
And then on the military side, we had Bo Baji, I think.
Sengo military soldaru ben wiete don Bo Baji no to misiki.
Falli Jaba.
May Falli Jaba.
I think Musa Bojang.
Misiki wiete do Musa Bojang.
These were the ones I could remember.
Be woni yimbe be anda mi do way manita wedde.
And we didn't have any kind of formal briefing with any of the authorities except for the fact that I was told by my IG then that I should join a panel to investigate people alleged of plotting.
Police ben IG on ko wi uno lango wonda mi do foti yawde jolmi bokkay be yimbe anda be lijjindina be yimbe anda be tuuma e do gal ku hippagol lamungo.
But at the personal level,
and these are the members of the panel.
Yes, at the personal level,
hold a second. These were the official members of the panel.
Well, these are the members of the panel that I am talking about. Yes.
Proceed.
We continue.
At the personal level, I had a briefing with the police officers. And I told them, we are here as investigators. So we should try to do what it takes to do our job properly. Whatever is needed, we should try to ensure that we do it in regards to establishing the veracity of the allegation. That was my briefings with them. So we were ushered into a room upstairs, which was supposed to be the venue for the panel. It's an open room, I think it's a conference room. And we have chairs put around a table, a conference table, for the panel members to occupy. And in front of that same table, there was an executive chair meant for the suspects.
Ngal yeso ngal tabal kadi e siran no joddina don pour neddo ma nanda wonda himo tuuma e gol hippagol laamu won ko joddinte don o lande.
Then we were sitting blindly waiting.
Men fo har men jodi men ender nibbere men habbade.
And later,
yeso seda,
this was at night anyway,
ko jamma wonno sa,
the first suspect was ushered in.
Neddo folo mo be andana wonno ko kanko be sobiti no tawa e hippagol laamu ngun o adda,
who happened to be known later be Bunja Dabo.
on neddo yeso seda men andi wonno ko wiete Bunja Dabo.
He was the first to be engaged by the panel.
Kanko woni neddo premier mo andana wonno mo hebidi yewtere e panel on.
He was moved in by soldiers.
Militaire be nadini mo der ka panel on jodino ton.
Who was present in the room?
At that time, I believe it was only the panel members that at that time.
Sikide on wattu no ko menam panel yimbe ar ligi fodde ligindinde affaire makko dan ko mena wonno der ton.
Later,
yeso seda,
during the engagements,
wattu mo ben yewtidane makko on ton.
And I think I saw Musa Jame and Tumbul. These were very frequent persons in that panel.
Musa Jame kanyum e wede Tumbul be ko yimbe anda wonde mo wattu be arayno ton.
When Dabo was ushered in,
yandama Dabo o adda nder,
he was on cuffs.
Rebe ceenuno juude makko den.
And we felt that was wrong.
Menen tigi menen jodi men don be yi wondama e faami wondama dum do ya dani e lawol.
And we requested that the cuffs be moved.
Then
we start engaging him blindly because we were not informed of what their level of involvement were.
Did you have any objections to the situation at the time?
The
cops?
No, Council, at that time I didn't.
I got.
Proceed, please.
We continue.
Well, we let him in questioning as to his alibis, what his activities were, and
what to men foot Molanda, Kanko Duani, Sangomako Hono, Hebri Jungo, Tumangal.
Before that, in fact, we told him that we were a panel instituted to investigate an alleged
panel yimbe be andana men suwama pour men wawa lijjindinde tumangal be tegal e horema pour men wawa hebude goddum.
His fate is determined by his own statement.
Te kanko tigri mijo makko ko woni ko e makko ko dum do men hebi dum e makko ko e makko.
We urge him to cooperate in telling us what he knows about the allegation.
Men jondi men yamiri mo wondama yo haalu ko andi ko e tumangal fo ko be tegi e hore makko.
Then we ask questions and he answers.
Before
going further, I want to state this. The police are divided into two groups. Myself and Cisse were to do or to be part of the interrogators or the people who do in the interviews. And the rest were now going to do the jottings of what is being said so that they will be able to obtain their statements when the time comes. So Mr. Dabo was interviewed.
Mr. Dabo oni neddo wanna na Olandama,
and he said what he knows.
Haliko andiko.
And he was ushered into an adjoining office within the conference premises. Where his statement was to be obtained. After Bunja, I think that day we only had one witness. I'm not sure. And then the trend continues. Sometimes we stay very late and come late morning. Continue. So most of the suspects would be escorted like Bunja was escorted. By people in black, and some of them would appear before us in a very terrible state. Of course, with torn shirts and bruises on their body. But then we will still interview them as they would want to talk, and their statements would be recorded. And during this period,
could you tell us the modus operandi, how the panel worked?
Wa men halande ligge den no yari panel on no be wadiri ligge mabbe.
Well, modus of what normally happens, or what was happening, the panel members would be in the room. The show was entirely a military show. So all, if not most, if not all, the arrests were done by military officers. So as we sit in the room, these arresting officials would be the ones doing the arrest and bringing them into the room. I don't know whether that answers your question.
I want to know the entire scheme that was going on in that place. The apparatus at work that produced the report that you guys signed. The commission wants to understand the scheme, how you did your work.
Hono wadir on ha on hebi hala e juude be yimbe commission on be fala andude hono liggirɗon hono waɗirɗon ha ɓeya haali ɓe
heɓuɗon konngol e jungo
ha on heɓi konngol e juuɗe ɓe mo annduɗa ko ɓen adda ɗon.
Council, as I said earlier, the role of the police was to investigate and to determine the veracity of the allegations. And we form part of a panel with other services. So the setup or the modus operandi that you asked, what I can comfortably say is the panelists were within the room, and the officers or the suspects were ushered into the room by a different team, who I would not confirm are part of the panel anyway. But they were facilitating the work of the panel by bringing the suspects into the room.
Yes. That was it. Look, Mr. Witness, you're a lawyer. You are a seasoned police officer. You are coordinator of crime management. You have occupied the highest offices for criminal investigation in this country. You are Assistant Inspector General of Police. You are asked to describe the apparatus, the scheme that produced that report. Is this the only thing you can tell us?
ko council o wi an place uji mo marɗa aɗon mari place uji kewɗi ko inni ɗo ko a woni yeesowo mo annduɗa kamɓe onon toppitota bade bonde mo annduɗa yimɓe no waɗa ɗum onon toppita ɗum a yahi ha a mari place uji kewɗi e nder ligge police yo ɗin place uji noon fof ko place uji mo annduɗa ko place uji waɗɗi yawɗi dow te noon joni kanko ko o lamdi ko ɗum woni no feereji ko on waɗi e nder on suudu ha on heɓi haala e juuɗe ɓeya ko hoɗum e hoɗum waɗa ɗon ko hoɗum e hoɗum ɓe toppita ɗon pour ɓe yimɓe haala o walla ɓe yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓe addi ɗumen ɗon ko hono ɓe haaliri ko ɗin ɗon rek on lamdoto pour o anda tigi hoɗum waɗa ɗon ha ɓe yimɓe haali.
Is this your testimony about what happened at the panels?
No wayno dal ko ɗum woni haalaji seede ma ko waɗa ɗon e nder panel o.
Council, I've said
Council mi haali de
what the police rule was.
golle police ɓen ko honɗum wonno ton.
The rest of the panel members.
ɓeɗa hedditiɓe ɓen ɓe andadama wona police ɓe.
And I've said
mi haali wondema kadi
some of the suspects
woodi e maɓɓe ɓe andana ko ɓen tuumaɓe ɓen
would be brought in
ɓe adda e ɓe nder suudu ton
in conditions that are not good at all, very bad.
ɓe addi ɓe haare woɓɓe e maɓɓe no ɓe woniri noon
They would have scars, bruises and tattered shirts,
wutteji ɗin fof no siiki.
meaning some other things have happened to them. Maybe they must have been beaten
ko honɗum firti ko ɗum woni awa no wawi haare woɓɓe maɓɓe ɓe lappama
before coming to us.
ɗo ɓe addede kamen wonɗon menen.
And of course they would be seated,
ko gonga ɓe joɗɗinayi ɓe,
and then we will do the interrogations.
menen ɗon men fuɗɗo landagol amen ngol.
And this applies to almost all the suspects.
ɓe yimɓe tuuma ɓen fof miɗo wawi wiide wondema no wawi ɓen fof ko ngol lawol gotol ko noon men ƴettiri.
And apart from the panel members that I have named, the NIA police and the staff, the
panel member ɓe landoto ɓe mi haali ɗo ɓen police soldat ɓen kañuma e NIA ɓe.
We also would have the likes of Lantombong and Sonko, Usman Sonko,
Usman Sonko
sitting within the room. Hari Sambu would be coming once in a while.
Hari Sambu kanko watuji ko aray ton.
And we had the likes of Musa Jame and Tumbul Tamba, who are almost every other time. If one is not there, sometimes both would be in, otherwise one of them would be in.
Musa Jamme kanyum may Tumbul Tamba watuji ko simbe fo be ala ton gote ma be wona ton ungo wattu fo.
At few occasions I saw Martin then.
Wattu hebbi kenu to mi ton wiete Martin kadi.
And also we had within some military officers within the room.
Kandere suudu ton kadi me yiye ton yimɓe ɓe andanda wondema ko soldat ɓe anda heɓe jogii joranji fetelji
and
suudu ton.
That aside also the condition was not the best of conditions. It was very bad.
Gonga ko no wawma wiide wondema toon no walorno no affaire no walorno toon ɗum haray moƴƴani hay seeɗa no.
To the extent that even us the investigators were hesitating to even be talking.
I think
you forthcoming, you coming up with the issues gradually, bit by bit.
Misikku afuddi yaltinde ko men falno andude seeda seeda no halirta ni.
And I think that is a better approach than a very sanitized testimony about what has happened.
Misikku non ko dum buri moƴƴu bura no fuddirda ni ado labbina piiji din no woniri ni kono non on tuma no halirta ni ado moƴƴina piiji din no woniri don.
Let me ask you, what happened there? Was it lawful? Was it in accordance with the law?
Ko wada e nder on suudu dum non no yaari e luwaji leydi ndina.
Council, there was a sitting government at the time.
Mr. Witness, answer my question. If you need to explain further, I will give you the opportunity. Would you answer my question directly?
It's a yes and no, Council.
Yes, tell us the yes.
Yes, as the police were there and the panel was instituted, which was very normal, common in those days. That was not the first panel, although with me, yes, that was the first, but panel have been instituted. And instituted based on circumstances. In this case, there was a circumstance that demanded, demand the institution of a panel. There were people who wanted to create unconstitutionality.
Mr. Witness, just answer the question. Was it?
I said yes or no. So
what happened there? Was it legal or was it illegal? You are telling us about all the things you have said have no direct bearing on the answer. Was it legal or was it illegal?
I said yes and no. You said I should explain.
Explain, but...
So I'm explaining the yes, and I can explain the yes, no.
But all the things you have said have no bearing. Have no bearing on the answer.
Well, that's my answer. If it has no bearing too, that is what I understand from the question.
Let's pair ourselves with irrelevant issues and focus on the relevant issues. Was it legal or was it illegal?
Yes or no, Council. That's my answer.
Okay, tell us why it was illegal.
It was illegal because people were brought in conditions that were not the least bearable, acceptable by the panelists. You can investigate without beating, without torturing anybody.
And why was it legal?
It was legal because we were investigating an activity that has to do with toppling a government.
But Mr. Sowe, how on earth can one issue be both legal and illegal? How on earth?
How hunde manudal o no yadi e loi o yadani e loi kala.
In one legal system, how can an activity be both legal and illegal at the same time?
Hunde wotere manduda ko hunde manduda no wada joni non on hono wawata wonde hunde ngo sengo wiya mboni yadi e loi ngodo sengo o yadani e loi.
Council, I can only present my facts for the determination of the commission. The legality and illegality, as far as my take is concerned, I will present what I know, and it will be a subject of scrutiny by the commission.
But the question is an easy one. You said what happened was legal, both legal and illegal. So I ask you the question.
Ko halda ko wiida ko wada don salari no yadi e loi kono sandari kala wa yadani e loi ko dum o landunoma ko dum non o fala pour firta.
How on earth can an activity be both legal and be illegal at the same time?
Hunde mo anduda wadama don hono wawata hunde mo anduda no yadi e loi o yadani e loi kala.
Because what you have said is a fundamental contradiction in terms.
Except
Council is telling me that the issue of the overthrow was legal. Then everything will be illegal. That's my take.
Mr. Witness, the question you were asked is whether the activity, the investigative activity, all the things that you have done there, were those things legal or were they illegal? Were they lawful or were they unlawful? That's what you were asked.
Ko landima ko dum woni no landirton be yimbe mo anduda ko ben adda don ko ben tuma no on landiri ben don e piiji din mo anduda yaadi e o lamdagol ko liggeji ko waddon don ko dum o fala andude hono din ligge walla hono dum piiji wada dum non no yaadi e loi walla o yaadani e loi ko dum o fala andude.
Actually, if you say all, that's why I'm saying yes or no, because I know not everything I do or the panel did was wrong. That's my take. So I can only present it as I understand it at the time.
Mr. Witness, if you carry out lawful activities in the investigations and you carry out other unlawful activities, wouldn't it vitiate, wouldn't it tarnish the whole entire activity and render it unlawful?
Ko joni si piiji ɗin yaari ni e nder ligge mo annduɗaa ko ɗum waɗɗon si ta on waɗi ɗon piiji goɗɗi mo annduɗaa no yaadi e loi on mbaɗi ɗon kala piiji goɗɗi mo annduɗaa o yaadaani e loi ɗum waawa yakkude inde ligge mon ko mbaɗno ɗon fof e ɗum waawa ɗum yakkude yakka inde ko ligguɗon ko.
Wouldn't it?
That would be subjected to interpretation based on the facts that are presented.
Like what? Like what interpretation?
The issue of vitiating all the rights because of a certain conduct. To me, I would agree that there were a lot of unlawful activities, yes.
So would those unlawful activities render void or unlawful the enterprise that you are doing? Okay, no. Let me revise it. You carried out investigations to correct statements, correct?
Liggintini pour mbawa hebde kongol e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe manduɗa kamɓe tuuma.
Yes, Council.
And the statements were unlawfully obtained.
Tenon kongol mo anduɗa ko ɗin heɓɗon e juuɗe ɓeɗo no heɓirɗon ɗum yaadani e laawol.
Maybe you need to come up a bit so that I understand what you want me to say.
Okay. And there were illegalities in the process, correct?
No waɗirɗon ligge ɗen no woodi piiji mo anduɗa yaadani e laawol.
Yes, there were, yes, I've said that.
And wouldn't those illegalities render those statements illegally obtained?
Joni piiji mo anduɗa no tawa ɗon mo yaadani e laawol tigi tigi ɗin ɗon wawa yakkude konngol mo anduɗa ko ɗi kongi on heɓi e juuɗe ɓe yimɓe.
If that is subjected to legal interpretation by yes, because that's
But what other interpretation can we subject them to apart from legal?
Kono joni non hono men larirta ɗum e men wiya ɗum ɗon ko ni wayi sita men ɓaŋani laawol mo anduɗa ko on laawol men fotno ɓaŋde.
Council, when I say legal, I am talking about the verdict. That's what I am talking about. Because at the end of the day, we've seen police obtaining statements. Somebody said, I'm tortured, it goes to court, and it is subjected to that interpretation. That's what I mean. That's the interpretation I'm talking about.
That is not an interpretation. That is a trial for the purposes of determining evidence in order to establish whether there were illegalities to render it inadmissible.
Wona pour ɓe haalira no waɗirani ɗum ɗon ko laawol mo annduɗa ɓe ɓaŋi pour ɓe annda ko hoɗum waɗa ɗon ko sengo loi o haali on ɗon haaju walla no waalori pour ɓe annda gonga o hono yaari.
So what we are talking about is you already acknowledge that there were illegalities.
Komen haalata ɗo woni ko ɗum woni a haali gonga piiji goɗɗi waɗama ɗon yaadani e laawol.
You accept there were illegalities.
An hoorema a jaɓi ɗin ɗon dey yaadani e laawol.
Have you not?
Very well, I've said it.
Good. And wouldn't those illegalities render the process unlawful?
That's why I have a problem with you. I don't think I would conclude it that way. That's the only thing. But I said activities took place that were wrong. Okay. For it to conclusively say that every other activity was just that's why I have a problem. But it's subjected to...
But what is your problem with that? Tell us the law which makes it a problem for you to accept my proposition.
joni hala men luwa manduda ko dum wadi ha awawata jabde min ko mi hollirini do ko.
Council, your proposition is your proposition. I am telling you. I am not after telling you the law. My understanding of
Mr. Witness, you are a lawyer. I am a lawyer. The commission is here listening to the evidence that is being presented. The commission is advised also by lawyers. Tell us the law which renders my proposition untrue.
Joni komi fala rek min komi hawlima ko. Hala men luwa mo anduda ko dum yakki kongol am o komi hollirima do ko on luwa mi fala pour halala.
Angelo, I don't think I said your proposition is untrue.
You are changing your position. You challenged my proposition. You said you cannot agree with it. I challenge you also. Tell me the law which makes my proposition untrue.
So we know komi hali komi hollima do awawa ta don jabde kono jon ko dum wadi mbima mi jodi hollam luwa mo anduda ko dum wadi ha an awawa ta bangde komi hollima ko.
I think Council disagreeing with your position, I will not agree that that means your proposition is wrong.
So you are just disagreeing because you are being disagreeable.
No, I'm disagreeing because you are putting the whole thing into one context and saying, giving it that meaning. That's where I have.
Perhaps we can hold off the interpretation for now because this would not. This is legal. It wouldn't interest those watching at home. Mr. Witness, do you understand the concept of vitiating factors?
Council, I am here to tell you what I know as far as the...
Answer the question. Do you understand the concept of vitiating factors?
No, I don't.
Perhaps that is the problem. But let me explain it very briefly. If you take a drum of water, pure spring water, you put urine in it, you would not drink it, would you? Would you?
It depends on the circumstances you are concerned, I think. Well, you can drink urine depending on where you are.
Okay, so maybe you would, but I don't think any other normal person would knowingly drink water that has urine in it. So by putting the urine in it, you are in fact spoiling it. And that is vitiating factors in law. When you bring in a person and you torture the person, or you create an environment where a statement could not lawfully be obtained, the torture and that bad environment are vitiating factors. These are factors that would render the statement illegally obtained. Am I right in law?
If that is the law, I don't contest what the law says.
If that is the law, are you not sure about it? You are a lawyer. You are a seasoned police officer. You are Assistant Inspector General of Police. I will just move on, Mr. Chair. Perhaps this is the problem. Are you satisfied with the product of your work in that panel?
Ko ligguɗon e nder on panel o ɗon on ɗen liggenon no welima no yiɗir ɗum nani.
To an extent, yes, Council.
And that
too is very shocking.
On kala non no woni hunde manduɗa no metti ɓernde no taƴa ɓernde.
And let's interrogate what happened in that panel.
Joni ndaren ko waɗa e panel on.
The panel comprised the police and NIA workers as interrogators and statement takers, correct?
Panel on police e yimɓe eno NIA kamɓe tawa e panel on kamɓe lamdata yimɓe kamɓe ɓangata konngol mo annduɗa ko ɓen ɗi yimɓe haalata tuumaɓe wonɓe ɗon.
And you would agree that the panel did not work alone?
E noon a jaɓat panel o wona kamɓe tigi tigi rek waɗi golle ɗen.
You agree?
Yes, Council.
You agree that the environment in which these statements were taken Okay, before even we go to that, you say there were escorts, people who would bring the suspects wearing black.
Awi yimbe ari on mo anduda kambe addata be tumabe. Tenon ben yimbe ko bawlikon rek be bornoto.
Did they carry guns?
Benon benin tammi fetelaji.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
Did they wear masks over their faces?
Benin borni kala mask yeso be mabbe.
Yes, Council.
Hey, Council.
Don't you find that intimidating?
Non wona hunde manduda no holbina.
Yes,
Hey, don't no hulbini.
Is that how a suspect has to be interviewed?
Non woni lawol manduda no moƴƴi pour yimbe manduda benin tumimo ko non be foti dumen lamdirde.
They were not interviewing, Council.
But if the suspect is put together with people who are intimidating, isn't that itself one of the factors that would render a confession inadmissible in court?
Sita neddo manduda benin tumi on neddo tenon on neddo no wada e yimbe walla omo wondi e yimbe manduda benin woni e nder on mahama manduda benin hulbine dum rek tigi wawa yakkude yimbe ben bernde neddo o hala manduda wona aniya makko.
Those are possible factors, yes?
I don't know why I would do that.
And you said that these people were brought in, sometimes they are bruises, blooded, clothes stoned. Doesn't that indicate that these people were manhandled?
Yimbe wobe adda don wiida wuttejo mabbi wutte ko borni ko dulaji no seki balli mabbe no wadi gagnande dulaji no wawno dal jijam kala no woni e balli wobbe dum non sa ndari dum non ko hono wayi ama an horema.
Isn't that indicative that these people were malhandled or manhandled?
Sikku dum wawa ma hollude be yimbe dal be nati e der tampere.
Yes, Council.
Isn't that a factor that would render a confession inadmissible?
Non tigi wawa wonde o neddo ko si o haali goddum dum dey sa ndari sengolua wawa wonde hala mo anduda wobbe bangata dum.
Possible factors, yes.
It's a factor, yes. It's not a possible factor, it is a factor. You would agree with that?
That's from you, Council. My possible factor.
It is a factor, nonetheless. It is a factor that can render a confession inadmissible.
On ko dalila mo anduda,
please.
Wawa yakude hala ko be yimbe haali.
According to law, Mr. Witness, if you know the law, you would accept that this is a factor that can render a statement inadmissible.
Ko loi o ko haali dey sa ndari dum hunde komin haali do joni on wawa wonde hunde manduda yakkat darnde hala manduda wobbe wawata dum bangde.
True or false?
Possible factor, that's what I said, Council.
You know I wonder.
Well, if you wish, Mr. Witness, you can stick to incorrect or inaccurate statements of law. That's your choice. But if you want to answer questions truthfully, you would gladly accept that what I state is true.
Joni dey said si welima awawa bangde labi wanduda no yadi e loi no fewiri ni sa yidi kala wawa bangde labi wanduda ko labi an horema ayidi dum fof awawa larde horema ndara ko bangata.
That is a factor that could negate or that could invalidate a statement. That could render a statement inadmissible.
Nomi yiri dum esengo lua neddo sita nati e der tampere on sifa tampere wawa wonde haaju kala ko haaliko on tampere ko fawa e dow on neddo si o haali goddum wawa wonde dum rek on hala wawata darde dulaji.
And so that's why I said possible factors, because it could.
But if it could, then it is a factor. It is not a possible factor. You're just hiding behind negativing or words that would give it a nuance that is not deserved. but you're just hiding behind that. But you know fully well that this is a factor, not just a possible factor, it is a factor that can render a statement inadmissible.
Dum de sandari tigi tigi. Wairi an horema awi dum wawa wonde. Wawa wonde. Sandari wawa wonde wairi don kaino dari. Joni sandari en sengo go kala. On wawa wonde wawa wona hunde mo anduda. Dum wawa yakkude darnde on hala ha dulaji goddi sa darni don hala. Be bangata dum.
But let me change the question. Do you think that it is normal and acceptable in civilized societies for a suspect to be brought to the interview with blood over him, over the person, and then the person is sat down and interviewed?
Joni, fadumi sansa no mi lamdiri dum sita neddo addama mo anduda bandunduno wadi jiyam wutte on no seki sandari dum andat o dey nati e der tampere dum non no yadi e lawol pour on neddo be lando mo ko haaju mo anduda ko dum wani dalila ko adda don ko.
Is that acceptable in civilized societies?
Non yimbe wawa dum bangde dulaji mo anduda ko yimbe manduda benin fini.
Would you answer now, please?
Said no counsel.
Thank you. If you answer as soon as I ask the question, then it will model the record. Is it normal, is it acceptable in civilized societies for a suspect to be brought in haggard looking, in tattered clothes and interviewed? Is it acceptable?
Dum non dulaji no di sita dum yimbe wawa dum bangde sita neddo no adda omo tampi tenon gude ko borni ko fof no yakki sa dum non on neddo sifa e der dulaji manduda yimbe no fini don sikkuda dum yadi e lawol pour ben sifa yimbe banga hala mabbe.
No counsel.
Ala counsel.
Is it acceptable that suspects are beaten and brought into the interview room and interviewed? Is that accepted?
Sandari kala neddo manduda be lappimbo ha be pari be addamo e der suudu pour be be lamdamo dum kala dulaji mo anduda yimbe wombe don no fini dum non sikkuda yimbe banga dum.
No.
Ala counsel.
And isn't it the truth, Mr. Witness, that these suspects were beaten and brutalized and brought for the interview? Isn't that the truth, Mr. Witness?
La sandari wona o woni gonga be yimbe be nanga be lappa ha be tampi be addi dumen e der suudu pour be lamda dumen so wona ko dum wadno don.
Some of them, yes.
Wobbe mabbe be lappama donc gonga.
Is that acceptable in civilized societies?
Dum non yimbe manduda benin fini jama mo anduda benin fini ben non be wawa dum bangde.
No.
Ala counsel.
Is that acceptable in the laws of this country?
Dum non luaji e Gambia do dum non yimbe wawa dum bangde.
No.
Ala counsel.
So the people who were brought in after having been tortured, do you think that you proceeded with them in accordance with the law?
Yimbe manduda be tampini dumen yi mette ha be pari be adda don on lamdi ben don sikkuda dum non ko haaju manduda no fewi.
As far as the panel was concerned,
comme no any be yimbe jodina be ton be landa be fi mabbe sa ndarti dum.
We were all not in for what we saw. Some of them were cases.
Were you in for it? But you are here, you sat here and endorsed the work of the panel. You now have an opportunity to change your mind, but you sat there and endorsed the work of the panel, and I was shocked by what you said.
Johnny day I be lawol pour sansa mijoma engo sengo no non a jodi do e a mojini ligge panel o dum non don no jakinim ha.
You changed your mind about the work of the panel, didn't you?
Asansi mijoma e sengo ligge panel o.
You've changed your mind, correct?
Asansi don.
After I gave you a litany of the violations, now you change your mind.
Can you, I'm listening to the interpreters anyway.
Yes.
Yes. No, gila mi hala nima piji e labi manduda ko dum loi o haali o walla piji mu anduda yimbe finbe e jamano mabbe piji manduda be wata bangde gila mi hala nima dim piji kontuma sansata mijo ma o walla.
Council, my position as per my earlier statement does not suggest that I categorically state that whatever the panel does was right. I didn't say that. And I would never say that. I also would not say. Yes.
Mr. Witness, you are given an opportunity to make an assessment of the work of the panel, and you endorsed it.
Prundara, Ndartina, an horema e mijoma liggintina ligge panel o ko be wadi ko kono amojini ligge den.
You endorsed it.
Amojini dum de.
And now you are telling us that, well, some people did not like what was happening. You also did not like what was happening. But you just endorsed the work of the panel. You can change your mind, but you earlier endorsed the work of the panel.
Council, my response to question in regards to the conduct of the panel, I said yes or no, and no. That's what I said. So if you are now trying to generalize that to mean that I said everything the panel does was right, that is you saying it. I didn't say it.
My friend, even if they did 1 million correct things, and they did one fundamental wrong, that one fundamental wrong can vitiate all that million things they did right, as far as the admissibility of the statements are concerned. The findings of the commission.
Si we liggi manduda no yahi ha ko 40 million ko moƴƴi e sengo ligge den be wado yi hunde wotere manduda ko hunde mawdo kono ko hunde bondo on hunde goto on hunde bade bonde on wawa yakkude walla ya wawa yakkude inde ligge ko be wadi ko.
What do you say to that?
My position is unchanged, except that you are trying to give a meaning and regards to what I said, as though I have said what we did at the panel, everything was right. I didn't say that. Okay. I said very clearly that it's a yes and no. In the no, I've said what my understanding was, and in the no, I've also said something. So if you are now bringing all that to one... Okay, sorry.
Could you take it again? And allow for the interpretation.
Yes. Sorry,
so put
Council.
your answers in short segments, in short statements rather.
I said my response to your question in regards to the legality or illegality of the panel's conduct. My answer was a yes and no. But your present position is like you are now saying I said all that the panel did was right, and I never said that. That's my concern. The vitiating factors that you've said, the vitiating factors that Council alluded to earlier, I could not say much about it because you said that is the law. I said subjected to interpretation because for me, interpretation of the law, it does not necessarily stop at the process of accepting or not accepting a personal statement.
What are you talking about?
What I'm saying, when I talk about interpreting the law, I said when a magistrate or judge is sitting listening to whatever happens. He sit and get those facts together and then give it a meaning in the context of law. That's what I'm saying. It's a process. Based on what had happened, even though it was wrong in some context.
Even though it was wrong in some context. Interpret that.
Sita andari sengo go no yaldani elawol.
I cannot conclusively admit the fact that everything that the panel did at the time was wrong. That's why I'm saying what I said.
Let me ask you basic questions in law. If you commit one violation, does it matter that you have done several things without committing a violation?
Non, ho yimbe foti larde awalu no piji kewdi bawo mo anduda dinno moji.
Like violation like what?
Okay, here was a process, you said. A process of investigation. Correct? If you obtain a statement illegally, does it matter that you have read the person some of his rights?
So joni sa lamdi neddo mo anduda a foti hebde kongol e jungo makko. Tenon no hebirda on kongol e jungo makko la yadani e lawol. Jon non on fere mo wadnoda ha hebi on kongol. Dum non no laabi walla mojjani.
Does it matter?
Don non alara piji ko wanno bawo no moji walla o haaju ko wadi no boni. Joni non kono darirta dum.
Does it really matter? Cut the interpretation now. Let's do it just in English. Does it really matter?
When it is determined by the courts, it doesn't matter.
Why are you fixated on the courts? You are the officer there, senior police officer. Your responsibility is to uphold the law, to implement the law, to enforce the law. Do you accept everything and then you take it to court, or do you do the right thing?
In this case, the panel didn't take anything to the courts. The panel did their report and sent it to the Aegis Chamber.
We know you did that. The issue is whether you should do the right thing or you should do the wrong thing and then send it to the courts. What should you do? The right thing or the wrong thing?
That's why it escalated to some other areas. If it is wrong from where we were, the Aegis Chamber should be able to...
I am talking about your obligation as a police officer.
Yes.
I am talking about your obligation as a police officer. Should you do the right thing or should you do the wrong thing?
Right thing.
Do you believe you did the right thing?
To an extent,
no. No. It's either the right thing or the wrong thing. It's not the right thing to an extent. It is either wrong or it is right. Did you do the right thing?
To an extent, Council, that's going to be my answer.
So you are hiding behind nuances? You are not even sure of your position? It's either right or it is wrong?
I think, Council, there is an element that you also need to understand. I wish I would not want to go this far to say anything, but we are looking at an issue that happened at a time within a certain government system that I would say, even if, sorry to say that, you were sitting there.
No, don't use me as an example. You cannot use me as an example.
Okay,
I don't work by your standards.
Sorry, excuse me, okay, that's a misstatement, that's okay. The condition was like, you may be wrong in some aspect, but for you to say anything, it's a problem.
But Mr. Witness, we haven't gone that far yet. what you have done is you have defended the outcome of your work. You said it was okay, much to our shock. You said it was okay. I gave you a list of the violations, just a few. I haven't even gone into the nitty-gritty yet. I haven't reached the full detail yet. And here you are stuck. You cannot defend that record. All of you acted in illegality. That is the truth, isn't it?
That's your statement, Council. It's not my statement.
But that is the truth.
Well, I wouldn't say no, but that's your statement.
So if you don't say no, you would obviously say yes.
If you ask me, I would say what I would say. But
all of you acted in illegality.
Well, that's your statement, Council, with due respect.
What is the truth? Mr. Chair, let the witness answer the question. What is the truth? Did you act lawfully or did you all act unlawfully?
The truth, Council, is in that situation, conducts were made that were very unlawful.
Did you all act unlawfully by sitting there and accepting those illegalities to prevail, and you submit reports, sanitized reports, which stated nothing about those illegalities? Did you act according to the law?
I wouldn't say sanitized.
Did you act according to the law?
I act according to what the law said I should do as far as the statement recording was concerned.
Okay. Did you write anywhere in the reports that these people appeared bruised, bloodied, and in tattered clothes? Did you state that in your reports?
In my history in the service, I've never seen.
I'm not saying that. The question is, did you do it or did you not?
It was not a report that would state how they appear. What they said in their statements.
Did you honestly, according to your oath as police officers, did you honestly state how the statements were obtained?
And so the report was not supposed to capture that. No.
But if you did not, you misled the whole country. If you did not, you misled the whole country.
Except if those that came before you depart from what we said in the report. Because whatever they said here is what they said in their statements, and that's what is captured in the report.
Mr. Witness, you knew there was a voir dire in all these cases. Don't you know that?
Yes, I'm told there was.
Yes. And what was the purpose of the voir dire?
Of course, it was to check the credibility of the statement based on whether it was voluntary or not voluntary.
And you knew about the illegalities that would render the statements inadmissible? You knew that? You told us here before?
Well, I've said it, Council.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Did you go to the court to say, well, when these people were interviewed, there were a lot of illegalities that happened? Did you do that?
I don't think anybody would work himself to any court.
Okay. And by your silence, these people have been sentenced, these statements have been admitted because people like you remain silent? Is that not the truth?
That is not the truth, Council. I'll never remain silent because I'm called here to come. And if I was called anywhere, I would.
Well, now it's ex post facto. We are talking when it mattered. If you had done the right thing, we wouldn't be sitting here today interrogating this particular issue. It's because you did not do the right thing.
Council, I think you are trying to be a bit, I don't know.
No, answer the question, Mr. Witness.
I've never in my life as a police officer walked to a court and say I must testify. It has never happened in my life. Don't
you have a duty as a citizen, as a police officer who knows or is privy to facts that are critical in a case? Don't you have an obligation? Don't you think it's your civic responsibility, or in fact, your official responsibility to write a statement to say, I was there, these statements were unlawfully obtained? Don't you think that should be your responsibility?
I don't know that as a practice in the Gambia here.
But
not even
morally,
in the Gambia.
Morally, is that
a responsibility? We're talking about what the law says.
No, I am coming to that. Morally, is that an obligation?
Council, I think maybe you are trying to...
No, answer the question and stop characterizing me as to what I am trying or not trying. Just answer the questions.
Morally, whether?
Are you obligated to blow the whistle to say that this was a blatant violation of the rights of Gambians? It should not be a basis for the conviction of these people. Don't you think you are morally obliged to?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, fine. But don't you think that as a police officer, you sat there, you knew an illegality was going on. Don't you have an obligation to stop it or to blow the whistle or not to be part of it?
To who, Council? With due respect, to who? If I'm going to blow the whistle, to who?
Do you have an obligation? Before we talk about to who, let's say, do you think you have an obligation? You
Mr. Chair, let me make a position here. It's as good, it's important to all Gambians and non-Gambians watching to understand that some of the questions, I have no problems in answering questions.
Well, you are not answering questions.
If Council is suggesting that I should be a whistleblower in an environment that I am, I want to understand to who do I blow this whistle?
Mr. Witness, let's first deal with the question. Do you believe that you had an illegal, did you believe that you had a legal obligation to ensure that that illegality did not proceed?
No, illegal obligation to ensure.
Yes.
To terminate the panel, you mean? Is that what you want to suggest?
You could have refused to carry on with the interviews.
It's good that some people were not here. For me to walk out and go home?
Yes.
You think that was a possibility, Councillor, with due respect?
Yes, it was a possibility.
Well, I didn't try it, and I wouldn't try it. Even today, I don't think it's relevant.
Couldn't you have written in the statement that this person was beaten prior to the interview?
I didn't write a statement, Council.
Did you ensure? Well, those who wrote statements were under your command, correct?
Yes.
Did you order them to do that?
I ordered them to obtain statements from suspects.
Did you order them to state that?
I ordered them to obtain statements from witnesses, from suspects.
Did you order them to state the true facts that these people appeared beaten and dazed when they give their statements?
No, that was not supposed to be my orders to them.
Didn't you think that that would have been the fair and appropriate thing to do under the circumstances?
Fair enough. If that's your take, I would agree.
Don't you even think that the mere fact that these people have been tortured is reason why the interview should not take place?
Chairman, my fuller listeners are denied interpretation.
No, you just trying to buy time to think through your answers. Answer the question. No, answer the question.
Mr. Fala,
just answer the question.
Ask, please.
You agree?
To say?
You agree that no interview should have taken place in view of the fact that these people were tortured?
Well, for today I will agree, but then not yesterday.
Look, the law that exists today is the same law that existed then.
But yes, that's
so you acquiesced, you folded and accepted the situation. Isn't that the case?
I think it is the system that you need to understand.
No, you can make us understand the system later. Let's now try to understand your conduct, what it is that you did.
Very
you sat there and accepted the illegality. Didn't you do that?
No.
What did you do?
In the context of the beating, I didn't do much.
You did not do anything. You accepted the situation.
Yeah, because the beating was not done in that room.
But in fact, that is not the case, Mr. Witness. Some beatings were done in the room. And your colleagues, those who were there with you, they attested to the fact that some beatings were done in the room.
Well, that could be their statement, but as far as I'm concerned, what
are they lying, Mr. Witness? Remember,
I'm not here to disagree with anybody's statement.
No, Mr. Witness, you are here to testify to the truth.
Very well, but not to disagree on anybody's statement. That I will not do.
Even if you don't disagree, we will make you answer questions. Are those witnesses lying?
I'm not sure. That's their testimony.
So it means, therefore, you are not even sure of your testimony. You're not even sure of what you say, because they say it's this, you say it's that, and you are not sure whether they are right. It means you are not sure that you are even right.
Council, I don't know whether you are also sure that they are right, but because I was there. And if I'm telling you what happened there, and you are telling me I'm not telling the truth, then...
Alaji Martin has confessed here that yes, he slapped Bunja Dabo. Is he lying? Is he lying?
Not in that venue.
In that room?
Well, I cannot remember seeing that.
You see, what you're trying to do, Mr. Witness, is trying to give a sanitized version of what has happened in that place. That place was also part of the process of torturing people and getting them to give unlawful confessions which would be used as proof against them. That is the scheme in which you worked. That's the truth, isn't it? Every witness who appeared here has accepted that that was the truth. From Director General of NIA to the very officers who worked under you during that time, they all accepted that these people were tortured, brought to us, and statements were taken. That was the system. That was the scheme. You are here to sanitize it. You want to give it that air of legality.
Councillor, are you saying that with all I said here, I didn't accept the fact that people were tortured and they brought in it?
But why are you arguing? Why are you making it look like you people did no wrong?
That is your suggestion. I didn't say that. Because I said the panel there were...
All right, okay. Let me toss aside everything that's been said. Did you people act in illegality?
Yes and no. That's my take.
Okay. Spare us the no. We're not interested. Where you acted lawfully, we're not interested. Tell us where you people acted unlawfully.
This is where we accepted interviewing people who were in a state of...
People who were tortured.
Traumatized kind of. People who came in.
People who were tortured. Accept that they were tortured, Mr. Witness.
They were beaten. That's what I'm saying.
Is beating not torturing? Especially if they are in the hands of state officials?
Use any of the adjectives, Council. I have no problems with that.
Give us a definition of torture, Mr. Witness.
I am not here to define torture.
No, Mr. Witness, you are a lawyer. You are an Inspector General of Police, yes. Assistant. Yes. You've led investigations at the highest level in this country. Tell us what is torture.
Torture is what it is, because it's self-explanatory. There is nothing.
Okay, tell us what...
Torture is torture.
Tell us what it is.
Torture is torture. That's my take.
Tell us what it means, Mr. Witness. No, because only if you don't know what it means, Mr. Chair.
Just indicate that don't take us back to the Lamin Dabo appearance here, not between torture and beating. But I would allow this punching to go back and forth. You both appealed them to me twice, made reference to the chair with that. Yes, I do allow some punching to go back and forth, left hook, right hook. You do that. But at some point, we would need to get back to the substance, exactly. Answer his questions, and we would go ahead. And perhaps, Council, if you make them shorter for him, he would just
yes.
Mr.
Chair, I ask this question because it is important for us to know whether our security officers understand what is torture. Because if they don't understand what is torture, they cannot prevent it from happening.
Well, please go ahead and answer the question.
What is torture?
Yeah.
Torture is the inhuman treatment of an individual.
No, that is not torture.
It's like doing any kind of beating, you call it, and causing trauma to the person based on what is applied on the individual. So I said that these people, some of them were beaten, were tortured, and brought before the panel.
Finally, you have landed. No. Finally, you have landed. That's all I wanted, that these people were tortured. You have used the word for the first time now, since we started 2 hours ago. They were tortured, correct?
Is it the first? Yeah, anyway, I said they came in tortured, beaten, I use a lot of words.
Exactly.
But
well, the one I was looking for, you have finally used. The eagles have landed. Thank you very much. Do you think it was lawful that you obtain statements from these people? Knowing
that's a very important question. Can the interpreters come in now so that people get to know?
Yes, perhaps repeat your answer. They were beaten, they were tortured,
yes, indeed.
They were manhandled. Could you repeat that? No. Take it from the witness.
Yes.
Could you say your answer? Repeat your answer.
So my answer remains my answer from the day one that these people were beaten.
What I says, Cancel your mic.
Sorry, interpreter, don't talk over each other. Let the witness answer the question again.
Yes, I was telling to make it.
From the beginning, lead counsel. What I said remains the same. Suspects were beaten out.
What is beat out?
Said beaten outside. They were kind of, whatever happened to them happened outside the conference room.
Some of what happened to them happened outside. Some of what happened to them happened inside.
The word torture I would use, they were tortured from wherever it happened and ushered in the conference. And they were interviewed.
Okay, good. And when they were brought in, you knew these people were tortured.
Gila be addama kander surundu on andi be yimbe be tampi be lappuno be do ha be tampi.
Of course, their looks were not the ordinary looks, so that is obvious.
Could you answer the question more directly? Yes or no? Did you know that these people were tortured?
No, andi be do be lappama walla be lappaka.
They look like people who were tortured.
I put it to you, Mr. Witness, that you are again giving a very sanitized answer. You knew with certainty that these people were tortured.
Hajoni kala sede on ado mojjina halaka kono non gonga odon andi si on dari yimbe be yimbe a andi be ko yimbe manduda be natti e der mette parce que be lappama.
And please answer truthfully. The commission would have to listen to all your answers in making decisions later. Answer truthfully. You knew these people were tortured. It was not lost to the panel members that this torturing was going on. They would torture and bring to you for interview.
Wano dal onon be wombe nder panel o be anduno gonga be yimbe addabe don be lappuno dumen be natti e nder mette be tampi ko ontuma be addi dumen don on anduno dum.
Like I said earlier, some of them, yes, they were.
That is not the answer I was looking for. The question is, did you know whether these people were tortured, or did you not know that these people were tortured? That's the
question. We are gonga wala wana gonga hani.
Mr. Chair, I am looking for a yes or no answer. I want a categoric statement.
We can't be repeating it ad infinitum. Perhaps the last time you asked that question. Can we get an answer, please, witness?
I only knew of their torture when they came in. So
no, did you know?
Yes, when they came, I knew that they were tortured.
And thank you very much. The more we have straightforward answers, the easier it becomes for everybody, and we save a lot of time.
Ajarama, simengebi Kongol jungoma ajabi no memfalirani hundende yawat.
Did the members of the panel know that these witnesses were being tortured and brought in and interviewed? That was the routine.
Yombe ender panel o be andunana be yimbe adda be don be lappuno dumen ha para ontuma be addi don ko non piji din woniri be anduno dum.
I can only talk about myself, Council.
Again, Mr. Chair, the witness is not answering the questions. You're not answering the question.
Ajabani komilamdiko.
Please answer the question. Remember, we have received a lot of evidence here, and your statement would be juxtaposed against other statements of witnesses.
Foti andude men hebi do seedeji kewdi manduda be ari be haali do tenon kongol mangol me wallina dum e kongol gu yimbe wobbe manduda be arno do men dartina.
Was it generally known to members of the panel that the suspects were being tortured and brought in for interview?
Dum non wombe ender panel o be hebno o gandal wonde ma be yimbe be wadno dumen be lappuno dumen ha pari be addi dumen on yeso mon to nder panel o.
Yes or no?
I know about it. That's my answer. I cannot talk about general members.
But that is not. That is not true, Mr. Witness. What the answer you just gave is not the true answer to the question, and you know it.
Gongade ko jabuda kon wona kongol manduda ko dum mi falno dum wona gonga no mi faliri dum ni.
It is not. And I don't want to have to prove to you that the answer is not true. So I give you another chance to answer the question. Was it known in the panel generally that these people were being tortured and brought in for interview as a matter of routine?
Be anduno gonga o dey be yimbe tumabe be lappuno dumen ha pari be addi dumen ender to commission o ko dum mi fala jaba.
Actually, I cannot talk about every member of the panel, and it's not everybody who came before the panel appeared the same way, like the issue of torture marks and stuff like that. Not everybody. So if you want me to talk about everybody, I'm making a personal statement.
Mr. Witness, the question is, was it known generally in the panel? Okay? Like it is known generally here that we've been here for almost 2 hours. And within that 2 hours, we only managed to get you to use the word torture at the very last minute. That is generally known. That is a fact here. It's not incriminating anybody. This is a known fact. During that time, was it known generally in the panel that these people were torturing suspects and bringing them before the panel to be interviewed? Was it generally known? It's a simple yes or no answer.
It was a general observation that people come there with marks indicating that they are tortured. It's a general observation.
Still being nuanced, but it was general knowledge. Not a general observation. It was general knowledge.
Joni halakala wan kono non a wi joni non dum ko hunde manduda hewbe andi dum.
Do you agree
that it was a general observation? Yes.
Mr. Witness, stop dilly-dallying. This was general knowledge. It was known to members of the panel. True or false?
Dum dey yimbe wombe nder panel o be anduno dum ko gonga wala wona gonga.
Council, I am agreeing to the fact that it was a general observation. If you want,
Mr. Chair,
that's what I said.
Mr. Chair, I think you should warn the witness. You are a very senior officer in government. You cannot be holding the commission in contempt like this. Answer the questions truthfully. This is a simple question. Answer the questions truthfully. This is a simple question. Was it generally known by the panel? You telling us it was a general observation and sticking to it. The question is, was it generally known? It is a yes or no answer. You cannot treat the commission with contempt like that by just dilly-dallying and waffling around. Answer the question. Was it generally known? Answer the question.
It's a general observation that I can see.
Mr. Chair, under the rules of this commission, a witness is obliged to answer questions. All right? You cannot refuse to answer questions by hiding behind imprecise words. Let the witness answer the question, Mr. Chair. If not, I would continue to cross-examine you on this question until I get the answer I want. Was it generally known in the panel that these suspects were being tortured and brought before the panel?
No.
Could you stop the interpretation?
Okay.
Answer the question.
The question is, suspects were tortured and brought before the panel. That's what I said.
Was that generally known to members of the panel?
The general knowing and the general observation is where maybe you want me to just
answer my question and stop.
I said the general observation because they come, you see it and you understand that these people were treated wrongly. It was observed.
Okay. When it was observed, was it discussed by members of the panel?
But at levels, I would do, but I know.
Was it discussed?
No, general. There was no discussion about it generally.
But that is a lie. That is not true.
No.
The witnesses who testified here said this thing was discussed in the panel.
That's what I'm saying. I said not generally, but then to an extent. Myself and Hydra, we were sitting like this. Sometimes we would be talking. So
did you discuss it?
That is not a general discussion.
Mr. Witness, stop playing games. Stop playing games. This is not helpful. This is not helpful. This issue was discussed in the panel that these people were being brought, beaten, tortured. It was discussed in the panel. True or false?
I discussed it with Hydra. Did
Fode Bari participate in the discussion?
No, that would not be maybe in my presence. They may do it, but
okay, let's listen to what Hydra had to say. Let's see, listen to what Hydra had to say. Unfortunately, the state guards who were in charge of the upkeep and security of the accused always like to stay in the panel room, notably Musa Jame, Tumbul Tamba, and Alaji Martin, all from state guards. Their presence became a nuisance and a bigger problem to the panel, simply because they were the ones who interrupted proceedings by either trying to beat or some instances had slapped suspects, maybe 2 or 3 times if my memory serves me right, and their acts were never ignored because we always complained. They always complained about the torture that was going on. And you said that did not happen?
I think we need to understand.
Understand what?
What was at play. I would sometimes be talking with Hydra, but Hydra can talk to people that
my
I'm
friend,
not talking to.
When the complaints were made, all of you were there.
No, honestly, we knew and we didn't like it.
But you telling me that you did not know that the others knew. No. That is what you told us. No. It's only now you're telling us that you knew.
We knew.
No. What I said? I said this were the observations we knew. And
you never said that, Mr. Witness. If you did say that, we would not be spending this 10 minutes discussing this issue.
Very well, if that is, we knew. That,
exactly.
Yes, we knew because they come and we observed this and we discussed it. Myself and we discussed this.
But I told you, if you don't give us the answers, we would pull out the tooth. No matter how hard it is, you will answer the questions.
I don't need to hide behind anything, because there is no interest for me to hide in any way to tell the Commission the truth.
It was absolutely unnecessary. You just wasted our time. It was absolutely unnecessary. It was.
I discussed with Hydra.
No, if you had just answered the question, yes, we knew, we would have moved on. But you tried to hide behind it was some observation.
Yes.
I tell you, you would answer the questions, no matter what. You would answer the questions.
So
make it easy.
The question has been answered.
Thank you.
Go on.
Mr. Chair, perhaps we should just take a break at the moment. Yes. I thought this was going to be a 1 hour session, but maybe it would be 5 hours. I am sorry, but we will get the answers that we want. Thank you.
You promised me that it will be 1 hour session. But before we go, just a very small footnote on the first lawyer-to-lawyer exchange that you had on vitiating factors. The analogy that you gave, that you have a bucket of water and then they put in a small urine, that's no normal person would drink that water. Just to tell you that in the 1960s there was heated debate when the third Prime Minister of India, Morarji Desai, was just doing exactly that. You read Kabir, the debate was whether or not Morarji Desai was a normal person. A very heated debate in the papers. But I'm glad that we have left that point behind. We will come back at 12:45. Is that correct? Yes. We come back at 12:45. Let's take a quick tea break. Thank you.